Hello and welcome to a Paladin's Guide to Blood Death Knights. My name is Falcon and today we're going to be looking at the talents, glyphs, and the abilities that you'll be using while questing and soloing your way to level 80 or 90. So I'd like to point out first and foremost, I am not an expert at a Death Knight. I am giving you the basic knowledge that I know in hopes that it will help you out and show you something interesting. That all said and done, let's go ahead and move on to the talents. As Death Knights are hero classes, they start off at level 55, so you get your first talent at level 56. And the talent that we choose to pick up is Unholy Blight. It is on a 1.5 minute cooldown, and it surrounds the Death Knight with an unholy swarm of insects within 10 yards that sting people and inflict them with blood plague and frost fever. So it's another way to spread your diseases easier. At level 57, we pick up Anti-Magic Zone. This is to help with casters and is on a 2-minute cooldown. And it places a large stationary anti-magic zone that reduces spell damage done to the party and raid members inside by 75%, or it lasts 10 seconds, or until it absorbs about 40,000 spell damage. At level 58, we pick up Death's Advance, which has a 30-second cooldown, and your passive move speed is increased by 10%. Movement and parrying effects may not reduce you below 70% of your normal movement speed. When activated, you gain 30% movement speed and may not be slowed below 100% of your normal movement speed for 6 seconds. At level 60, we pick up Death Siphon. This costs 1 death rune. You get death runes by using abilities such as Death Strike, and also what we will pick up at level 75, which we'll talk about in a moment. Death Siphon deals a small amount of Shadow Frost damage to an enemy, and healing the Death Knight for 100% of that damage dealt. This works well along with your Death Strike. At level 75, we pick up Blood Tap. Each damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike, and Rune Strike generate 2 blood charges, up to a maximum of 12. Blood Tap consumes 5 of these charges to activate a random, fully depleted rune as a death rune, which then would allow you to use your Death Siphon. Now let's take a look at the glyphs. We pick up Glyph of Dark that sounds right. Glyph of Dark Sim, there we go. That reduces the cooldown of Dark Sim by 30 seconds and increases its duration by 4. This is an ability that will bring it down to a 30-second cooldown, I believe. If I can find it. I can't find it. I probably didn't put it on my bar. Oh well. Glyph of Icy Touch. This allows your Icy Touch to dispel 1 helpful magical effect from the target. Always a valuable option while leveling, and even later on in raiding if you don't have a player to do that for you. Then last we pick up Glyph of Unholy Command, which immediately finishes the cooldown on your death grip upon dealing a killing blow to a target that grants experience or honor. Always nifty for leveling, allows you to get mobs to you quicker, and especially at the beginning rush from 85 to 90, being able to grab a mob and yank it to you is gonna be pretty beneficial. So minor glyphs they never matter. I mean, there's a few that sometimes are good, but in this case there's none worth talking about. Now let's take a look at the passive abilities that you will have as a Blood Death Knight, starting off with Will and Necropolis. When a damaging attack brings you below 30% of your maximum health, the cooldown on your Rune Tap ability is refreshed, and your next Rune Tap has no cost. And all damage taken is reduced by 25% for 8 seconds. This effect cannot occur more than once every 45 seconds. Veteran of the Third War gives you a straight 9% extra stamina. We all know what Vengeance is. Scent of Blood. Your successful main hand auto attacks have a chance to increase the healing and maximum healing done by your Death Strike by 20%, and to generate 10 runic power. This effect stacks up to 5 times. Scarlet Fever causes your blood plague to also afflict enemies with weakened blows. Weakened blows reduces the physical damage that enemies do by 10% for 30 seconds. Another word that I'm gonna not slaughter, we're just gonna call it San. San Fortitude. Your Icebound Fortitude reduces the damage taken by an additional 30% and costs no runic power to activate. Your Plate Specialization gives you 5% stamina. Your Mastery, Blood Shield. Each time you heal yourself with Death Strike, while in Blood Presence, you gain 76% of the amount healed as a damage-absorbing shield based on your Mastery. In this case, I happen to be in all DPS gear, so my Mastery is not quite as high as it would be. However, you can see the coefficient. It starts off as a base of 50%, and then your Mastery adds more to it. You have improved Blood Presence, which increases the rune regeneration by 20% and reduces the chance that you will be critically hit by melee attacks while in Blood Presence by 6%. You have Blood Rights, which is whenever you hit with Death Strike, your Frost and Unholy runes will become Death runes when they become active. Death runes count as a Blood, Frost, or Unholy rune. And then last, you have your Blood Parasites. Your melee attacks have a 10% chance to spawn a Blood Worm. The Blood Worm attacks the enemy, gorging itself with blood until it bursts to heal nearby allies, and they last a total of 20 seconds. So now let's talk about your regular activated abilities. First, let's go over your massive amount of cooldowns, starting from here all the way over to here, some of which being talented cooldowns. And this isn't even including Raised Dead. So these two are your talents. But then you have your Empowered Rune Weapon. It's on a 5-minute cooldown, and it empowers your rune weapon, immediately activating all runes and regenerating 25 runic power. While this is not exactly a tanking cooldown and all classes can use it, it is very beneficial to you whenever you are in an oh shit situation and you need your runes to be able to do some death striking. You have your Icebound Fortitude, which is on a 3-minute cooldown, and it freezes your blood. Sorry, it threw me off by saying her. I'm usually used to saying him. And you become immune to stun effects, and all damage taken is reduced by 50% for 12 seconds. You then have your Army of the Dead, which costs 1 Blood, 1 Unholy, and 1 Frost rune. It is a channeled ability and is on a 10-minute cooldown. It summons an entire legion of ghouls to fight for the Death Knight. The ghouls will swarm an area and taunt and fight anything that they can. While channeling Army of the Dead, the Death Knight takes damage equal to their dodge plus parry chance, and just for giggles, I glyphed to change this, and so I want to click it and see exactly what they look like. As it said, they all should look different, and in fact, they do. So here is my goon swarm of ghouls. Everyone say hello. Hey guys. Let's open this back up, or not, and keep going. You then have your Anti-Magic Shell, which is an instant cast, lasts 45 seconds, and it surrounds the Death Knight in a magical shell that absorbs 75% of the damage dealt by harmful spells, up to a maximum of 50% of the Death Knight's health, and prevents applications of harmful magical effects. Damage absorbed generates runic power, lasts 5 seconds. Bye guys, you've been wonderful to me. Then of course we have our Anti-Magic Zone. Then you have your Dancing Rune Weapon. This costs 60 runic power, has a 30-yard range, and is on a 1.5 minute cooldown. Excuse me, it's instant cast. And it summons a second rune weapon that fights on its own for 12 seconds, mirroring the Death Knight's attacks. The rune weapon also assists in defense of its master, granting an additional 20% parry chance while active. You can glyph for this, but it is not something I would, it is something I would do for tanking in groups and in-game, but not while leveling personally. Then you have your rune tap, which costs 1 blood rune. It was on a 30-second cooldown, and it converts 1 blood rune into 10% of your maximum health. Which, 14k, yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Then you have your bone shield. It's an instant cast on a minute cooldown, and it surrounds you in a barrier of whirling bones. The shield begins with 6 charges, and each damaging attack consumes 1 charge. While at least 1 charge remains, you take 20% less damage from all sources, and it lasts a total of 5 minutes. You would want to pop this prematurely before doing a big pull so that you can always throw it back up again. Then lastly, we have Vampiric Blood on a 1-minute cooldown. Temporarily grants the Death Knight 15% of their maximum health and increases the health received from healing spells and effects by 25% for 10 seconds. After losing the after the effect expires, the health is lost. So that concludes all your big cooldowns. There's a lot. I don't know on average how many more than others, but there's a lot of stuff there. Now then you have several forms of pulls. Anything from your Death Grip, which resets every time you kill something, and it pulls a target to you and they attack you for 3 seconds. You have just your simple Dark Command, which is on an 8-second cooldown and will cause anything that you target within 30 yards to come at you. You have your Icy Touch, which you can use as a pull as well, or you can use your Chains of Ice, or hell, you can even throw Outbreak on them. Those are all various pulls that you can do. You can also use Outbreak with Pestilence, with Blood Boil to get good AoE coverage of damage, along with your Death and Decay. Or you could simply use this and then Blood Boil. Either way, it's your choice. The only other moves to really cover are those that you should probably already know, as I don't know of any massive changes, but I'll go over them anyway. Heart Strike. Costs 1 blood rune, requires a melee weapon, obviously, and it strikes the target and up to 2 additional targets nearby the enemy, causing 175% weapon damage plus 1500 on the primary target, with each additional struck taking 25% less damage than the previous target. Damage dealt to each target is increased additional 15% for each of your diseases present, so up to an additional 30% if you just go ahead and pop that. And then you have your Death Strike, which costs 1 Unholy and 1 Frost rune, and you must be in melee range, of course. And it focuses Dark Power into a strike that deals 150% weapon damage plus 500 to an enemy, and heals you for 20% of the damage you have sustained during the preceding of 5 seconds. Minimum of at least 7% of your maximum health. This attack cannot be parried, and then this grants you your Mastery. And this basically covers everything that is currently in for Blood DKs. I'd like to thank you for watching, encourage you to have a great day, and if you liked it enough, please throw up a like, comment, and subscribe if you feel it's worthy. If not, well, have a good day.